Are you ready to find out what are the main sales tasks or sales outcomes in your business so you can start delegating to your executive assistant? In this video, I'm going to dive through a few of the examples of sales related tasks that my own assistant is doing and the different ways that you can start delegating these tasks as well to your own executive assistant. Now, a key thing is to start thinking of when you're delegating something to your executive assistant that they're not tasks, you're delegating outcomes. So as a first example is instead of telling your assistant like, hey, we need to build a lead list for us to contact or to outreach, you're going to say like, hey, can you make sure that our prospects are identified? It's that shift over of just creating a list to now actually intentionally having the outcome of having the ideal prospects or people that you want to outreach to mapped out with your assistant. Now, this is kind of the key thing of the difference between having just someone who just gave you or came up with a list of 100 people to reach out to versus having the outcome of like, hey, these are the top 12 lawyers in this area who we can probably start reaching out to for our services. So there's that difference of just getting a random list that's not really just, they just kind of wanted to fulfill the 100 list versus like, hey, here are the top 12 that I found that would be a really good match for people to reach out to. And for my own assistant, she knows this best because like for every single season that we have on our podcast, she finds the people that we want to talk to and she knows basically who I want to talk to, who would be interesting for the podcast, and basically making sure that they feel taken care of as she starts doing that outreach. So that's the first thing. Next is CRM data entry or just keeping the records clean. Again, it's outcome based of like, instead of just like, hey, you're managing the CRM now, what does that look like? It's making sure, it's clean, making sure it's organized, making sure any details that is needed for that person is on there, and it's making sure that it's up to date to what it is that you need. Other tasks you might think of delegating is pipeline management, which basically just means that deals are clearly tracked. Again, it's that outcome, making sure of who is in that pipeline is making sure it's kept up to date on what is the last status of that lead, of making sure that if there is a follow-up that's needed, it's sent out, because again, it's making sure that the pipeline is correctly tracked. Now, another task you may be delegating to your executive assistant is just managing the inbound leads. As people start emailing in, making sure that they're responded to. Now, the outcome is making sure that they are responded to fast and clearly. So it's not just saying like, hey, I'll get back to you, like, hey, these are the next steps, I'll get back to you. I got your form, I got your whatever it is that they're supposed to send in. Your assistant basically makes sure that they are responded to and the next steps are clear or laid out. Next task is an outbound outreach setup or making sure essentially that the campaign is ready to go. So depending on how deep you have gotten your assistant to set up, essentially getting to the point where you now have a lead set up, you now have like the email that you want to send them out, you have the follow-up sequence afterwards. It's not just about setting it up, it's making sure that when you press start, it actually starts running and going. And for my assistant, when it comes to doing some outreach for either for me to speak on different podcasts or different stages, she makes sure that there is that, again, that sequence of what needs to get done. The moment that, XYZ happens, ABC has to get done. Next is the ever important follow-up management, which is basically just making sure that no lead falls through the cracks. It's making sure that if someone said like, hey, can you get back to me 6 months later? My assistant is there making sure to message them, interact with them on LinkedIn, messaging them on LinkedIn if they're not responding on email at all. It's making sure that if there is a follow-up to be done, that it actually is done and the loop is somehow closed. Whether that loop is just like, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and move forward, or no, it's still not a good time for me, but get back to me in 6 months. There's basically, again, that clarity on what the next step should be. Next is basically just booking calls with your lead, right? And this essentially is making sure that any sales calls or any potential calls with your client is booked smoothly. And yes, there are tools like Calendly and Acuity and so many other tools that you can use. But with your executive assistant, it's making sure that if they do want to reschedule, or if you need rescheduling just because life happens, it's making sure that it is done in a way where the ball isn't getting dropped, to make sure that things are still flowing, the conversation and back and forth still makes sense. Next is, instead of just delegating, create the proposal, it's making sure that the proposal is ready for review. It's not just crafting based off of a template you guys have. It's having your executive assistant learn and understand your pipeline, their services, what it is that you do, as well as the lead who is coming in, and making sure that the proposal is easy to understand, it's clear, and again, it makes it a no-brainer for whoever is reviewing that proposal to actually then say yes. Next is, instead of just delegating contract and document prep, it's making sure that contracts are sent on time and any important documents are also sent out. Again, it's making sure that no time has been lost between the client saying yes to when the document should be sent to when it should be signed, to keep the pipeline going. Next is invoice coordination, or just making sure that once the invoice is paid, that the trigger events, whatever that looks like, whether that's when you actually then send the contract, whether that's then you give them access to a client portal, that those sequences are taken care of. It's making sure that there's like, hey, the client actually paid us 3 days ago, making sure that doesn't happen anymore, that there's basically a sequence of automations or emails or anything, so make sure that you don't miss those. So again, it's running everything else smoothly. Next is delegating sales materials management, or making sure that the assets are organized, making sure that the documents or files or tools or anything that between you and your client are using, that they're organized and easy to find for either the client or for you to find without having to message your EA for every single thing, because they've already kept everything organized for you anyway. Next is that all-important sales reporting, which is basically just making sure that the numbers are visible and actionable. And this is a key outcome difference, is instead of just being able to see all of these numbers of like, this is how we did last week, this is how we're doing this week, there's visible next steps of like, hey, because our numbers went down this week, I suggest that these are the next steps that we can do. Or hey, like we did really, really good this week, this is why, and this is what we can double down on. So it's not just being able to get this spreadsheet of numbers and charts and everything else. It's making sure that there are visible next steps for what should be done next to do better or to be better. And when it comes to delegating client handoff to delivery, this is essentially just making sure that there's that smooth transition. For example, for me, I still do a lot of the calls for people who want to hire executive assistants. And then for my assistant, she makes sure that for the next person, for the client success manager who will be taking the next step or the next stage, it's making sure that they're CC'd on everything, that they have the document file for that client, and it's making sure that everything is easily findable for them. So when the client is now transitioned to working with a client success manager, that they don't feel like, oh, this is weird, this is awkward. Like, oh, I talked to Leanne first so that I know what kind of executive assistant I need. Now I'm being handed off to a client success manager who will take care of me for the next steps. Now, key thing, by the way, that I've not mentioned yet is my assistant does manage my email. She sees every single email that comes in. She sends off emails as me. So for the clients, they don't even really talk to my assistant, but the client think that they're just talking to me, but she's actually the one sending all of these details, sending everything else, making sure that everyone else has the document that they need to keep this process moving forward. Again, when it comes to working with your executive assistant, the main key thing is thinking of like, hey, I want to delegate this task. You want to make sure that you're also delegating to them the outcome of how this task affects everything else, and that makes the whole process just a little bit easier. Now, if you are ready for your own executive assistant who does these tasks, make sure to book a call below. And if you enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button right there so you know to make more videos like this. Comment below any questions for any other sales tasks you want to delegate to your assistant. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Thursday on how to grow your business, especially with AI and outsourcing. And if you want your own assistant to learn more about how to be a better assistant, they can check out my first channel here, and you can check out the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing and fantastic day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!